Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Pitch the Podium. This is a special episode right here because today we meet the winners of the Pitch the Podium and the F1 Wow Grand Prix prediction competition. Lasted over the first half of the season, and my word, I couldn't do any wonders, but we are meeting the men with the crystal ball. No innuendo intended right here, but we're going to know their takes on how they did it and also more on the upcoming second half of the season because seriously, if they could predict what happened in the first half, I think they're going to have a good time in the second round because things are about to get crazy. All of this on this episode. Let's begin. Welcome along, folks, to Pitch the Podium. My name is Saumil Arora. And today, as you can see on the screen right now, I am joined by two of the top three finishers in the Pitch the Podium Grand Prix prediction competition. Firstly, to my right, I've got Manav, who finished P1. I can show the standings on the screen right now. And man, this got really close right here. Manav Modi, of course, was in first position, I'm sorry. Khalil was second. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite join us today because of some commitments. And third, of course, Samarth. Guys, thank you so much for taking out your time. This is awesome to have all of you here. Manav, firstly, mate, how did you do it? Or as we would say in Hindi, kaise kar liya bhai? This was such a crazy first half. How did you get everything correctly? Not everything, but still.
Just wild luck, I guess. I just got lucky. I had to toss a coin a few times, I guess.
And what about you, Samarth? You're into a lot of fantasy leagues. I heard the Premier League as well, and you had a fantastic start to the first week of the season as well. About F1 though, this I think has ended up quite well for you.
Yes, I managed to just manage to finish in third position on the last round of the league, and it has been a great journey. Most of the times I didn't flip coin like what Manav did, but I tried to play defensive most of the times. What other people might do, like taking up the try of Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas a lot. So that worked a lot better for me in the league.
That was super successful. But guys, firstly, before I get to know more about your stories in Formula One, I have to ask you this major question. What do you think about Bottas and Perez in the coming out of the half of the season? We saw Perez thankfully getting one big win. I'll start with you on this one, Samar. Do you think we can see either of Bottas or Perez just maybe get one win in the second half? It sounds unlikely from the surface of it, but what do you reckon happens on?
It can happen. That is what I feel. It's like both are good drivers, but very defensive drivers. That is what the bracket I put them in. They are not very aggressive. I feel they don't go that extra bit to win that race. And Bottas and Perez are like overshadowed in the behind Verstappen and Hamilton, obviously, who both are very aggressive and they want to do that extra bit to win that. So on their day, like it's once in a blue moon kind of a thing, we can see Perez and Bottas win. But keeping that consistency up, I doubt that.
Going to be crazy. What do you think about that, Manav?
Yep, I totally agree with Samarth. And to be honest, I think there are more chances to see a Perez win another GP than seeing Bottas. This is because I think Bottas has lost that motivation. You can feel it in the environment that he's in. There's always news about Russell replacing him next year, and I don't want to make that prediction right now. But when it comes to Perez, I think he's under more pressure because I've seen Helmut's comments on Perez. Apparently, he's still unhappy. I don't know why. He's been the best teammate to Max since I can't remember when someone was as good as him.
Ricciardo, yeah.
So I think Perez still has that motivation. Yeah, so that's what makes the difference.
Interesting. You mentioned something about George Russell and Mercedes, but we'll go there a bit later on. But firstly, guys, your stories. How did you get into Formula One, and how long has it been since you have supported the sport? And this is a bit of a tricky one. Most people often tend to stutter on this, but your favorite teams and drivers. Why don't we go with you first, Manav?
Well, this might be shocking because this is my first year in Formula One.
And you already nailed it, mate.
So those tossing the coins are a good option, I feel.
Exactly. Got to try it
Yes.
for the next half of the season, I guess.
Yes, yes. Well, actually, I used to keep tabs on the results last year in 2020, and I actually started watching Formula One in 2021. I haven't missed a race since. Um, I knew about Formula One growing up. Yeah, it's a sport, and I've always been a car enthusiast. And there was no other sport that I could, relate to that attracted me. So I thought, why not give it a try? And I got into this, I guess 2 to 3 years ago, when I thought like, man, I want to go down this path.
Yeah.
But to my dismay, I found out it's too late for me. So, well, might as well support the favorite drivers and all. So, yeah.
And who have you picked so far? It has to be Vettel, right? Considering how loved he is by everyone. Or is it somebody else?
No, my favorite driver isn't Vettel because, I haven't seen him in action in his glory days.
That's
But,
true.
I love that Indian GP ending.
So
Absolutely
many.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that wow.
that one was something, man. That one was
That
something.
was touching. Like I wasn't there to witness it, but it still touched my heart. But yeah, um, as a fan, I prefer Max, but definitely Lewis Hamilton when it comes to actual racing. Lewis is so experienced, man. This has been my motto throughout the first half of the season, predicting. I've told this to one or two friends even who are predicting, like, always bet on Mercs and Max.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I mean, it's the tactic that's got two of the top three home, right? So you know exactly what to do when we come back in the second half, guys. But what about you, Samarth? How did it all begin for you?
It started quite a long time back, like 10 years back when I was in. So we had a group of friends who were F1 enthusiasts, like a sports enthusiast. And then slowly we started watching races. And at that time, I didn't understand the details of the sport. But as years have passed on, I have understood more and more about it. And I have fell in love more and more about the sport. So there have been times when I have missed my college classes or any other commitments to watch races. And so I am at that point of my, the fan enthusiast kind of a person. And I love following sports. And Ferrari is my favorite team. I have been following Ferrari. So from the time I have started watching F1, I watched Ferrari chasing Red Bull for 4 years. And then I watched it chasing Merc for next 6-7 years. So I have been always the second or the third person who has finished in our group. We had Red Bull fans and I was the only Ferrari fan. So those 4 years during my college time, I used to get a lot of bashing because all friends were Red Bull fans and Vettel was winning hands down and we couldn't catch them. But as years have passed, I really enjoy watching Seb driving. He's wonderful on the drive. He's a great guy. And I would say Leclerc has started to, impress me that amount. But let's see, it's 2-3 years down the lane. I can say that he's my favorite driver. But right now, I guess Seb is hands down my favorite driver on the grid.
But mate, still, quintessential question. Everyone has to ask a Ferrari fan, how are you so patient? It's been so long. It's been ages since we've got the last win.
Just give you a little detail into my life. I'm a Manchester United fan.
Sir,
so patient.
That makes the two of us.
So patience comes to me naturally. What Michael Schumacher Ferrari was Sir Alex Ferguson to Manchester United.
So true. So true. Well, at least 2021 looks good for both of us. That's a good thing.
Exactly. That is a good silver lining. And let's see. There are good...
Yeah, could be. Should be fun. Also, guys, about the 2021 F1 season, we discussed how you actually predicted everything. But in terms of moments, right, this was so filled with dramatic ones. And of course, we know your favorite takes right now. Manav, what was your favorite moment? And I get a feeling it shouldn't be the crash at Silverstone, right? Because your favorite driver got taken out big time. And the outlash from that has been crazy. It's still continuing on to this day. It's been weeks.
Well, honestly, I haven't really been able to enjoy the first half of the season because there's always that prediction results back of my mind. So it was a bittersweet experience back then because on the one hand, Max, my favorite driver, was taken out, but well, I had predicted a Lewis podium, so well, that made it easier. But yeah, for my favorite moment, I don't know, it's gotta be Baku, man. The whole race was intense. Oh man, and till the last moment, like even the restart was just bonkers.
Madness. Have you guys seen that meme, that Fast and Furious one, where Hamilton just jets off with the "See You Again" song running in the background? There's craziness going on. And what about you, Samarth? I mean, it has to be Hungary, right? Vettel getting the podium, but then taken away, sadly.
Just said that, but that actually worked out well for me because I predicted Hamilton to finish second, and if he wouldn't have finished second, I wouldn't have. It was that close, just a point difference between me and the fourth position. Yeah. So that worked out well for me. But the favorite moment for me in this season has to be the street races and the Ferrari coming up with that package. Leclerc on the qualification of Monaco, that was amazing. The way he drove around that, but the accident kind of took away that, and the way he couldn't race into that weekend. So it was mix of emotions on that weekend. But yeah, the Ferrari package bringing that pace on the street races has been good.
Yeah, it's bad.
Adding on to it, I feel that Sainz and Leclerc are the most equally paired drivers on the grid in any team right now. That is what I feel. That might be a bold prediction, but I feel they are the most matched drivers.
No, 100%. We've got it on our screen as well right now. In terms of points differences, there's only two teams that have got points differences in under 5 points. It's Ocon and Alonso with a difference of 1 point. Again, largely down to that shock win that we got in Hungary. But also Sainz and Leclerc, barely 3 points separating them. And it's not Leclerc who's leading. It's actually Carlos Sainz. And it's crazy.
And he has came just in this season. And we have seen drivers finding it very difficult to adapt to the new car, like Danny Rick.
Yeah.
He's a great driver today, but he still is struggling with the McLaren. But here we see Sainz walking into the Ferrari team and just half season, and we are seeing him leading against Leclerc. So that's crazy.
Yeah. And what do you think, Manav? I've got two questions for both of you. In terms of the midfield right now, right? Binotto says that Ferrari has the best driver pairing everywhere. It's a bit of a shock on that, but still, do you reckon that firstly, Danny Ricciardo can actually end up beating Lando Norris clean in any race weekend? And secondly, which midfield team do you think gets the next podium right now? We've seen Ferrari get one, we've seen McLaren, Alpine somehow getting up there. If you had to pick one for the coming races, which one would your pick be for this one?
Well, for the podium, I'd go with McLaren, surely. But when it comes to midfield battle, I'm sure, I know that Ferrari is going to beat McLaren at the end of the season. Definitely, no doubt about that. It all comes down to Ricciardo. Because as we spoke, right, Sainz has been performing brilliantly. And, I didn't realize that he, beat Leclerc in consecutively for like 5 or 6 races until I watched one of your stats by Sundaram.
Oh,
great guy.
Thank you. And he's just awesome.
Yeah. That's what made the difference, I think. But definitely podium for McLaren for Ferrari. Yep, definitely.
But that's a bold call, right? Ferrari beating McLaren. But it's very much possible, Samarth, considering that they've got 2 drivers instead of 1 now.
Exactly. It's like the same thing happening at the top. Like Red Bull always had just 1 driver against the 2 drivers of Mercedes. So in the midfield battle, the same thing is happening. McLaren has right now Lando Norris, who I can see winning the championship in next 4 to 5 years, definitely. That is another bold prediction I'm giving up. But Ferrari has Ferrari has been amazingly great with the drivers, Sainz and Leclerc, and they both are performing day in, day out consistently. Hasn't been one race where you feel that Leclerc maybe hasn't performed well or Sainz hasn't performed well. They both have been giving whatever they could with the driver and with the package they had. So Ferrari definitely is going to finish third, and McLaren is going to finish fourth.
I mean, what an era it is, right? We're actually celebrating Ferrari finishing third. Who would have thought something like that could have ever happened? But that's just how unpredictable Ferrari is. It's just craziness. But guys, finally, before we end up finishing off, before we end up leaving, sadly, we've got to discuss about the championship fight. We spoke about it briefly. We had a chat about Max and Lewis, but this could genuinely be going down to the wire. We could end up seeing a Brazil 2008 all over again. Who knows? So, how close do you think it's going to get? My pick is maybe under 5 points, but what do you guys have to say about this one? Why don't you go first?
Well,
I feel Max.
Just go ahead.
I feel Max is gonna win the championship. I guess he always had that hunger in him to win races, to win championship, and I guess this is the year when he has the best car to challenge Mercedes, and he knows it. He knows that he can challenge Mercedes and he can win against Hamilton and Bottas. We have seen the Mercedes leak out at some races and losing points and due to their technical issues or whatnot. And I feel Max just might edge it out against Hamilton in this championship, no doubt about that.
And what are your thoughts on that, Manav? I'm sure you'll be supporting Max for this one.
You can't be too sure on that, but I don't know if it's Red Bull who's stronger this time or if it's Mercedes who are weaker this time. I genuinely don't know. Well, Red Bull has improved a lot, that's for sure. And yeah, I think it's going to be coming down to the very last race, but I am kind of rooting for Hamilton just because he has that chance to make history, right? As the 8th world title on the line for him. And he's got all to lose because...
True.
Being a Ferrari fan, I want Hamilton to win.
This will be one big record under threat. No, finally, Michael's old one. But he's just so good. I think he'll still ace past. Well, again, it helps that you have so many races in your time. That's statistically helping pad Lewis's record up. But yeah, I mean, again, he's no denying that he's been pretty good. But he's just up against the best competition so far, right? How crazy is it? But guys, do you think that in the last few races, Mercedes haven't been as good in terms of raw pace? They've just benefited a lot on Red Bull's incidents, and maybe that's why they lead the Constructors' Championship, and that's why Hamilton still is in the fight. Because remember, Austria, Red Bull were, I think, miles ahead of them.
Sure.
The last two definitely helped Mercedes to claw their way back into this championship in both Constructors and Drivers' Championship. So yeah, it feels as if those two races have been like a lucky charm kind of a thing for Mercedes. But let's see as the next half starts. The first 2 to 3 races will be really important because that will really pave the way to the rest of the season now.
Exactly.
Yes, I think Mercedes is more focused on strategy this time around than raw pace, and it's quite the opposite for Red Bull. And I'm really happy to see Perez being such a good sport, man. He's like a perfect teammate for Verstappen. I'm hearing him saying, "Go get them, mate," letting him pass through, and that was brilliant. And coming to teammates, man, Alonso blew me away.
He's so good.
I'm just in love with that guy, seriously.
I still don't get why he's just a 2-time world champion. I really don't. It's just beyond me. But guys, who do you think? Finally, we've discussed Alonso now, right? This is a fun one. Who do you think is going to be the star performer? Not the champion, but the star performer of the second half. I have to go for Alonso, considering how good he's been and how well he's performing so far in the Alpine. He's taken some time, but I think he's going to be the one to watch out for finally. And what about you, Manav? Who's your take for this?
I got 4 people on my list.
Why not?
Right. Starts off with Perez.
Uh-huh.
What a man, what a man. He treats his tire better than his family, I think. Mm,
That's such a good line. And the Mexicans are apparently very good family people, so it tells you a lot about how good he is with those tires. Oh man, that's a good one.
Second is gonna be Lando Norris, definitely. He
Mm-hmm.
has improved so much since last year. And it's almost like he is Daniel and Daniel is Lando this time around. They've swapped places because last year it was completely different.
Yeah.
Third is going to be Gasly, definitely, man. I love that guy. Gasly has been so impressive throughout the season, I'd say, even last year. And I kind of feel bad for that guy because he has to go up against Perez for that seat. And, there was one beautiful moment in the last race that was, just brilliant. That in the last lap, very last lap, he just stole the fastest lap from right
Yes.
under Hamilton's. Nobody noticed that really. Everyone was busy celebrating Hamilton's win, but man, that's where the real brilliance was. I gotta say that. And lastly, yes, definitely Alonso, masterclass. Right from the race starts to defense, like he's got it all.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of the goats. And who's your pick for this summer?
I'll second that on Manav. I feel Gasly has that appetite to race and to win races, and finally he has that car to challenge those midfield teams, and he has drove superbly. If you see him comparing with Yuki Tsunoda, and they both have the same kind of a car, both have potential, but Gasly is bringing out that consistency which winners need. So definitely, I'll also go with Yuki Tsunoda on this one. Pierre Gasly on this one, to really be the dark horse in the next, part of this F1 racing.
Should be fun. But guys, thank you so much for taking out your time and joining us right here. Many congratulations on finishing so high up in the prediction competition. This was great fun. And now we've got so much to look forward to for the second half of the season. Right here, all of it on Pits to Podium. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. And you know the deal, right? You've been on YouTube for years, so you know exactly what to do. But folks, once again, thank you so much for joining in. And we shall see you very, very soon.
Thank you.